live in this community today may be to share in an inhuman existence. One must learn from implausible models the speciality of survival. One must be as relentless in the pursuit of this survival as these tough city pigeons, with hands to steal, legs to run, eyes that view life and death, which may, unless one is stronger than the strong, crush whatever human sensibilities there are left remaining. This is Charlie Melendez, president of the Ghetto Brothers. He was born and has lived all of his life on these streets. To Charlie Melendez, the Ghetto Brothers group is the only family that he has ever truly known. And so, the killing of a ghetto brother, particularly someone as important to the group as Black Benji was, demands, in the context of what may pass for life in the South Bronx, a response of more violence, more killing, a kind of escalation of the continuing war of these young men against each other as reflections of daily elements of oppression. The mirror images of this oppression, the promise of an unfulfilled aspiration, a crap game bet of $1 that may result in a corner knife fight, and yet another irrational killing, or, yet more subtly, the free flow of drugs in this community and its accompanying genocide that destroys with a terrible, gnawing hunger.
When I walk around, I like to think, and I think that I'm, maybe it's that I'm crazy, or maybe it's just that I like to do this, but when I walk around, I like to look at things, and I'd be looking around, and I see so many of my Puerto Rican and Black brothers all strung out on dope, and I see them stealing, and I see them selling each other, I see them selling each other's clothes and going through all these changes, and this is what turned me off, and I said, damn, it's gotta stop sometime.
The youth groups are wired to each other by rumor. Hence, the question of what is truth becomes the major obstacle to any course of heading off violent retaliation by other gang groups, as well as the Ghetto Brothers. Charlie Melendez and Playboy, one of the group members, returned to the scene of the killing of Black Benji.
We came down the stairs, right? And we stopped there. And there was about 13 to 20 of us. And then when we looked down, we seen them. And that you couldn't even see the end, the corner. That's how many there were. And then when we got to the bottom of the stairs, when they could have seen us, there was only about 9 of us. So that's when they started, tracking towards us. And when they was tracking towards us, they was hiding the weapons, they was hiding the weapons. That's when Benji came out, and Benji said, he took a step forward and he said, listen, brother, we're here to talk peace. And the guy, he came out and he said, I don't know, he said, piece of shit. And he must have took a jump. It looked like he threw a kick, but he must have took a jump to grab a pipe, So when he had the pipe and he started swinging it. So when he started swinging it, that's when the guy pulled out the machete, and that's when they all had us all surrounded, And then, when he started swinging it, we moved back, and I started swinging the belt. Because I panicked, I started swinging the belt. So Benji said, tip, brother, tip, because there was too many. So when we started running, Benji was right, on my right-hand side. So, I heard a noise, pow, like a slap. And Benji had got hit in his stomach, and he tripped.
The jungle, and to many of its residents, the South Bronx is a jungle, reflects its own set of ethics. When the reasons behind the random acts of violence become known, they are often clouded and not what we have come to expect from this, our civilized society. After all, men die here because they are in the way of some force, or because they welched somehow on life, or just because there is no room in this particular scheme of things to allow them to live. In this neighborhood, one is lucky only if one learns the wisdom of the street early. Here, to be lucky is to stay alive. A Charlie Melendez might even venture predictions as to the future quality of life for those who come after him.
I guess it's what the teenagers are going to make it, right? You know, guys my age, 20, 21. What we do is what's going to, you know, influence them, because, like, if we shoot dope, they're going to be shooting dope when they get older. And if they see, like, to get up, like, you know, my club is doing, that we get ourselves together, and we do something for the community, then they're going to think that that's what's hip. And whatever they think is what's hip, that's what they're going to do. Or the school, you know, that's one of the institutions that's really doing our people in. Because you start going to school, man, you start learning about Lincoln and Washington. And that's all fine, you know, I can dig that, man, but of course you want to know about yourself, man. You know, you want to know about your leaders and about your heroes. So you can look up to them, because it's just like, you know, that's what's happening in the Bronx. All little kids are trying to recognize heroes. If Charlie's tough and Charlie know karate, well, all the little kids say that they know Charlie and they want to be like Charlie. Now, if they were taught that they had their own leaders, and that to be Puerto Rican is not, you know, just to be a person that can only speak Spanish and can't speak English. And they were taught in school that black did do something for, you know, the United States, and Puerto Ricans did do something for themselves. And they wouldn't, you know, this wouldn't come about. But the schools are what really fucking them up.
Don't scare me.
Morton Weinberger, the principal of a neighborhood junior high school and a teacher in this city's public school system for nearly 20 years, confides his frustration to an interviewer. Does the school in any way attempt to reach out into the community to deal with some of these problems?
We like to think that we try to reach out. We have tried to establish now evening community centers when they have been eliminated. We've tried to set up little street academies and street clubs where we can see some of the older youngsters who are tending to deviate, be redirected. We have organizations such as Sarah, and we are organizing little clinics where people could go to. But the truth of it all is, for the 16 to the 18 and the 14 to the 19, that age group, not enough is being done. This is one man's opinion.
Do you feel that you're a part of this community?
I would like to think that if I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to be here at 7 o'clock, and I stay until, not every day by any means, but I'll be here for community meetings, community school board and parent meetings, and sometimes at 10 or 11 o'clock, and I will attend functions such as, well, last Friday night I attended the National Association of Puerto Rican Rights dinner. I have had our after school, we had perhaps through the community education complex, a development of one of the finest programs of musical development for youngsters. This runs down to 5, 6 o'clock. We have our children or our students participate in community activities. We've recognizing our children, we've sent them to see native dances in Harlem. I like to think that we spend a lot of time. Am I a resident of the community? No, but as a principal in the community, my life has to be in this community.
In a community where a $5 bag is understood to mean a dose of heroin and perhaps a mere 4 hours of forgetfulness, and scratch is obviously the money in one's pocket, where the mind is changed when it gets eaten, men may appear who speak of alternatives. Manny Dominguez, a teacher of mathematics in Principal Weinberger's junior high school, suggests that some of the problems of this community originate in institutions once designed to prepare citizens for roles of productivity.
Hi. Huh? Talking on television. Oh. How are you doing?
How's the administration react to your becoming concerned with these kids who are outside of the school?
Well, in order to work with them, there's been times when I've had to leave the school. And at first, everyone liked it because I could help keep the tiger away from the door. But once the tiger started to settle down and stay away from the door, I was told I couldn't go out anymore, I couldn't talk to them anymore, I couldn't use the phone to help them anymore, I couldn't leave the class. When I saw what was going on Thursday, my first impulse was to leave the class. But I realized two things. One, that my primary responsibility was to the kids.
Hey, Sophie!
And two, that...
Kids in the school.
Yeah, the kids in the class. So I knew I had to stay there. But I also knew that my impulse to leave was restricted by the principal's feeling that I should stay in the school no matter what happens. Well, what's really going on is there's a problem because people can only handle the defined roles. And if you step out of the role to solve a problem, if you solve the problem, they say, well, okay, we understood, but if something goes wrong, then they say you shouldn't have stepped out of the role. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of people are afraid that if I continue to step out of the role, that there will be a problem which will reflect on their control over me or their influence over me.
Do you think that your role as a teacher in a community school, in the public school system should be extended to the community at large, to the kids in the street who are not in school?
Definitely, yeah. I think I should be able to use the phone. I think I should be able to leave during my free periods. I think I should be able to, if the crisis is great enough, say to the fellow that I work with, man, will you take my class? Because we work in a double room, and he told me that anytime there's a problem, I'll take the other part for you, we'll just consolidate the classes and you can leave,
Yeah.
And I think that should be allowed, if someone's getting killed out in the street and I might be able to stop it, I think I should be able to split and go out there if I've got the relationship with the people who can stop it.
What's the killing of Black Benji mean to a group like the Ghetto Brothers?
Well, it means a loss of a friend. It means a loss of someone that they respected and valued as a member of the family. It means that that the situation up there was so bad that two brothers killed each other, and maybe they should start analyzing the situation, and maybe they should start thinking about why it happened.
Well, it's just like what happened to King and Kennedy and Malcolm X. It's just like one of them things that since now that he died, well, now everybody says, well, now we're gonna start working and now we're gonna start doing, and so on and so on, because they wasn't doing nothing before. They was all rumbling, but now all the clubs want to have meetings, and all of them want to talk about peace.
What do you think might come out of these meetings?
Nothing. I guess they're just gonna, it's just gonna be a better life here in the ghetto.
Just hoping.
At least the youth, right? At least the youth of today, man. They're gonna know what's.
What would you like to see for this part of the Bronx, for your community?
Oh man,
to me, I like to see new world.
Too much, man. Yeah.
See, I like to see all these ghettos, turn into better places, or better places to live at, Not like these run-down houses, whereas a lot of kids and, children get sick when they don't got no food. That's what we're there for. See if we can contact a lot of organizations. See, they could give us this milk, sandwiches. We could give it out to the kids in the morning. To the welfare department, see, they could give us some clothing. Just give it out to them, And, see, we want to help our people. We dedicated ourselves to our people. That's what Benji did.
And so, it was arbitrarily decided there would be no retaliation, no gang war reminiscent of the 1950s, to the accompaniment of popping zip guns, the sound of adolescent rage through the streets. And the word went out. There would be a meeting of all the families in the area. Throughout the planning for the meeting, Charlie Melendez, wearing an Army flak jacket, walked the streets and considered the possibilities of a truce meeting. The police as much as left the arrangements to the youth. With 3 youth patrolmen covering an area of the Bronx about the size of the island of Manhattan, it was probably their wisest move. Around the boundaries of the 41st Precinct, appropriately designated Fort Apache by the police working out of it, the wise policeman keeps a low profile, and there was little interference from the police until later. So the process of turning the killing of Cornell Benjamin into something positive for the community was made to depend upon a truce meeting engineered by the Ghetto Brothers and to be attended by gang presidents and vice presidents from all over the area. Before the gang members introduced themselves, Charlie Melendez demanded that all police operatives leave the meeting, including a police troubleshooter assigned to the city's youth.
Hey, I would like for the police to leave. Or we got nothing to say.
He left.
Vice President, King Cobras.
Ward Councilor, Young Sinners.
President, Young Sinners.
Vice President, the Young Sinners.
Vice President, Young Saints.
President, the Young Cobras.
War Councilor, Young Saints.
Vice President, Young Cobras.
War Councilor, Majestic Warlocks.
Vice President, Warlocks.
President, Majestic Warlocks.
President of the Saints.
Advisor, Ghetto Brothers.
Warlord of the Ghetto Brothers.
But some city officials remained quietly in the background. Ted Gross, commissioner of the Youth Services Agency, observed the proceedings and listened to the speeches by gang members concerned with the tensions in the neighborhood.
I'm telling you, man, because Black Benji died for peace, man. And like, wow, this is what we're seeking, man. That's what this meeting is for, man. For peace among each other. You understand?
Wow. Well, that was the beef with them. Well, how did we get in there?
Hey, man, I'm going to tell you how you got in it. Because, like, let me tell you, who was at the motherfucking fight, man, when Black Benji got struck down, when he was hollering like, wow, why should we all fight, man? We all black and Puerto Ricans, huh? When they fucking hit him in the head with a pipe, man, and while he was laying on the floor, they said like, wow, Black Benji, all he came out of his mouth was say like, wow, man, why should we fight, man? You understand? And they struck him down dead. And you think that's righteous, man?
They said you looking for us.
Let me tell you something. If we were looking for you, man, I guarantee you, we would have came to your turf, brother. We would have came to your turf. You understand? We wasn't looking for nobody. You know why? Because Louis asked us to be cool, and the police asked us to be cool, and the Ghetto Brothers asked us to be cool. Because let me tell you, Brother Benji here is our brother, man. He's my brother, Jack.
Well, yes, he is, because he is. He's our brother, too.
And like,
You
I
think
tell
that
you
too?
right now, if any of my members came to your turf, you point them out to me, I guarantee you they pay for it.
They came up there in trucks on our turf.
Youth Services Agency Commissioner Ted Gross responded to questions put to him by an interviewer.
Do you think that the groups of youth are different than the bopping gangs of the 40s and 50s? And
Certainly.
How are they?
Certainly. One, I think that they're a blend of several stages in our development or protest. I think in the ghetto community, the bopping gang was a method of protest at one particular time by young people. That was in the 40s and 50s. And we get to the 60s where we have the student activists era, and that becomes the ideal thing. And they are talking about social issues. Well, if you know the gangs of the 40s and 50s were not concerned about social issues. They were concerned about whether or not who insulted whose girl, who's knocked off whose hat, or who came in whose area. Now the youngsters are raising social problems also. Aside from having a tendency to bop, they have they're raising very real social problems and social concerns that they are aware of, and they want the system to do something about. And so I think that the groups today are a blend of the fighting gangs of the 40s and 50s and the student protest movement of the 60s. They have maybe we should say a healthy blend.
You and several of your boys come in, bust in, knock us down, take our clothes, take our record players, take our money, our records, and every damn thing we own, including the damn fluorescent light bulbs.
You people that hard off to do this shit,
Did we ever do
Why don't
it,
you come down our dungeon and do that? Down our dungeon. It's a real thing. Come down here and do this shit.
But I felt all along that the schools had created the problem by kicking these guys out in the first place for not behaving properly. Either they kick them out for not behaving right, or the guys drop out on their own because they get sick and tired of all the nonsense that's being fed to them, of courses that don't mean anything to them, of requirements that don't mean anything to them. Like, take reading. Everyone talks about reading, 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 reading. To me, reading is just a measure of the control that we're able to exhibit over these kids. The chief means of communication up there is talk. And those kids want to talk to each other. The Ghetto Brothers don't bother with reading. I don't give them any books and say, here, read this about, read Marcuse, read Freud, we talk. And all the ideas are communicated. Politics, the sex, everything is communicated through talking. So these kids, and they love to talk. These guys talk all day long. Benji, Puerto Rican Benji, will talk all day long. Right? Black Benji was most proud of his rap. Okay? A guy with a good rap, all right, is a respected man. And that's why one of the main reasons Black Benji was respected. Because when he rapped, all kinds of things changed. All kinds of things happened. Okay? Things got better when Benji opened his mouth. Right? So they love to talk. And they're in schools where it's a criminal act to talk. Right? Hey, you're talking, criminal act. Bring in your mother, you're talking, criminal act. Well, how long can these kids that love to rap, who go out in the street and be with their friends and derive their malehood, their manhood, off their ability to rap, how long are they going to stay in schools where it's a criminal act to talk? Not very long. So the schools drive them out one way or other. They kick them out or they drop out themselves. Okay? So I think the schools created the problem.
You want to know when we came to your turf, man? When Black Benji died, man. That's when we came to your turf for Static, man. I'm going to tell you what's happening now. Because all this shit is bullshit, man. You see? Because like, wow, man, we didn't have no Static with you people, man. All we did is ask you people for the colors, man. And you people didn't give us our colors back, man. You don't see us stripping you people, man. You don't see us stripping the turban. You don't see us stripping the Ghetto Brothers. You don't see us stripping no other crowd. When we have Static, man, we settle out among ourselves, man. Because like, wow, we got to live in this district. The whitey don't come down here, man, and live in the fucked up houses, man. The whitey don't come down here, man, and have all the fucked up fucking no heat in the fucking winter time. You understand? We do, Jack. So therefore, like, wow, we got to make it a better place to live. You understand? Because like, wow, we the motherfucker that our parents gonna look for in the future.
Would you say that there's a power vacuum in the Bronx?
A power vacuum?
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about a vacuum being created by the fact that enough young people are not involved in the decision-making and the power structure of the Bronx, yes. Not only in the Bronx, that would hold true for the whole city.
You attended the truce meeting at the Boys Club last week, several evenings ago. What did you think of it?
First of all, I thought it was frightening. I think it was frightening as hell, to be quite honest about it. I think that, one, that I hope that truce can be attained from this meeting and from the subsequent meetings they have. There's a lot of dangers, as you were there and you saw, by having this many groups together. One, no one can predict what would happen at a meeting there. We had over 200 youngsters, about 20 groups represented, and with obviously some antagonism between groups. And all that had to do was get out of hand. And we would have had mass havoc.
What prevented it from getting out of hand?
I would say my workers. I would say my workers.
What role do you think Charlie Melendez, Benji Melendez, Marvin played?
I think he played also a role of keeping it from getting out of hand. His speech concerning the reason for them being there helped. I guess the most frightening aspect of the whole meeting was the turbans. And it's frightening because these are not kids.
My president right there, he's a veteran from the Army.
I did 14 months in Vietnam.
Veteran from the Army.
Got shot.
You know what I mean?
For nothing. Come out here and...
I'm going to tell you something. We're not kids, man. You know? We're not kids. This mostly goes for them, not you other people. Everybody's all right with us. You people. You don't have no chance against us anyway. You know? You got the odds, you know? Plus, you don't know how to use this, man. You think? You don't know how to use this. You're 16 years old. You think you're back in gambling days, back then, gambling busting days? All that shit is over, man. What you're supposed to do now is get some organization, man. You dig some togetherness, you know, some party, you know. You know what I mean? Get your sisters together, man, you know. You know how nice it looks walking down the street with a bra hand in hand? You dig it? Dress it, find it like a motherfucker, you dig it? All right, you're nice and high, you know how to smoke, they drinking. That's another thing. No, we'll drug out of some turbans, baby. I'm proud to say that. You know? Yes, you have, baby. You know? And you yourself, you're full of shit, you know what I mean? What you think, you gonna take over the Bronx? Not even no servants can take the Bronx over, brother. Get that in your motherfucking head, man. You know?
Some of the groups are potentially dangerous. I think the most positive thing about them is that they are drug-free. And I'm willing to look at all the other negative things lightly, the fact that they are drug-free. And I think that we really have to work with them and try to keep them drug-free, get them, their energies channeled into a positive way. That's quote-unquote a positive way, whatever the system or the community decides is a positive way for young people, which is not always the best for young people.
Even though we had colors, we were a gang, we'd never look for trouble, man. I could understand if they beat up Benji, but killing him is another thing. You took away one of our brother's lives, man. And we were right there at the funeral looking at him, saying, I wish the immortals, if they were them, to see what it is to take away one of our brother's lives. You don't want us to become a gang again, right? Because I know you, right? Don't I know you? You was up in the meeting and you told me, Benji, I want to get out alive. Didn't you tell me that? Benji, I want to get out alive. That's just what's going to happen. You're going to get out alive. Benji didn't get out alive. Benji died. They took away my brother's life, man. The thing is, we're not a gang anymore. We're an organization. We want to help black and Puerto Ricans to live in a better environment. You see, I said, down with colors now. Now let's turn something, man. Let's turn something. Let's help our people, man. But they're taking away my brother's lives, taking advantage now that we're an organization. Because I heard that Immortals been going around Saturday morning saying, look at Ghetto Brothers, let's get them. You guys are giant people, man. You really are. You're not no Hell's Angel, man. You're black and Puerto Rican. You're black and Puerto Rican, brothers. Now, you can get that to your head, man. That's all you want to know. Now, I want to show you where there's a line around here. Because you see this?
In some ways, as a reflection of the larger, more controlling society, the gang groups and families caucused and decided how the business of tension, conflict, and rumor would be settled within their community.
Right. Hey, if you have a rumor, you come and see yourself.
The buzz of negotiation and exchange fills the void that fear, anger, and tension have created. And, it is known, all of this must be done before any attempt at peace or a reduction of the tension may be brought about. Will this peace treaty be binding? Will the relative calm remain?
To head ourselves. I want all the presidents to stand up of each clique. Just stand up. That's right. All the presidents to come together, join hands with me. All the presidents. Just presidents. Right. Put it in writing.
The applause that greets a call for peace by a youth services worker is not a convincing guarantee. Much is still left up to the family members, and they will leave here only a bit more convinced that there is hope for a coming together. And whispers abound that there must be further meetings in private, away from the eyes and ears of the intruders.
See, but we don't want people to judge us and telling us, well, you're there to represent a gang. We're really telling them, we're not here to represent a gang. We're the youth. We're the ones who are going to be running in the future. So look at us. Look at our example. We're here as your servants. We're cleaning up the streets. We're trying our best to get you clothes and food. So why don't you cooperate with us? That's what we're asking for. We're not asking for violence. See, that's what I want them to look at us. Not as a gang, but as a together group. The system is oppressing the youth so much that they just actually turn around and tell them, well, fuck you, let me stay here. Or the only thing I can do is get my friends together. We call ourselves the Dropouts and form a club where that way we can do something ourselves. we could collect our dudes, buy a little soda, a little beer, a little here and there, and we just get organized and start our own club. You can't walk the streets peacefully these days. You never could tell what's going to happen in the corner, whereas drug addicts could jump you, or another club could stop you and say, hey, give me your money. Say, I don't got it, and right there they kill you. You see, this is not a peaceful place to live at. To me, of all the worst places to live at in the Bronx, you can't live a peaceful life. Not even me. We could sleep up our house, and the next thing you could be thinking, man, what could be happening to my brothers? What's happening to some, like me and my brothers sit down and say, right now, we look at the clock. Every minute that passes, somebody's dying in the South Bronx. Somebody is being killed in the South Bronx, and we could put an end to that. Because we slept out here in the streets. We know what it is to be pushed around by policemen. We know what it is to get locked up. So the thing is that if we get together and say to ourselves, well, the people need us out there, and says we don't got any money, let's start our own thing, and probably people can contribute something to us. For the community, we're going to keep drug addicts out, we're going to clean your community, and people are going to say, wow, man, these people are doing a lot. Then after that, the government's going to look at this, and then they're going to say to themselves, why are we paying the sanitation department? Why are we paying model cities? They're not doing the job, these kids are doing the job. I want people to say, the Ghetto Brothers has done something. I want my child to say when he grows up, well, my father's done something for society. See? And I want things to change, man, because I don't want to be living in the South Bronx where everything is messed up. I don't want my son to be walking in glass streets. I don't want him to live in a building that's all messed up in the ghettos. I want him to live in a good environment.